But I love a poetic journey of a hero who is a seeker of love in all the forms he likes. Author Miss
Aarya Sathye.
In a land where love was often chained by laws, customs, and silent stares, there lived a man named Vihan. Not a king, not a poet, not a rebel, just a seeker of love in all its forms. But what made his journey extraordinary was that he loved not just once, but thrice. And each love was real. The beginning, Meera, she was the sun that rose over his youth. Meera, the girl who painted her hands with henna and dreams. They met in college, under neem trees and monsoon skies. She taught him to see poetry in puddles and meaning in silence. They married young, as most did. They built a life of shared bank accounts, mismatched furniture, and the music of familiarity. It wasn't fireworks, but it was warm, deep, like old wine. Yet as years passed, Vihan grew restless. Not out of boredom, but out of a hunger for emotion he couldn't name. He told Meera one night, trembling, "I feel like there's more love in me to give." Meera stared. She didn't cry. She said, "Love doesn't run out. It only changes form. But remember, truth is the only bridge I'll walk." She stayed. The spark Netra. He met Netra at a book launch in Jaipur. She read Neruda like it was prayer. They talked of death and divinity in the same breath. She was fire, sharp, untamed, full of impossible questions. He was drawn to her chaos like dry leaves to flame. He told her, "I'm married, but not unfaithful." And she replied, "Then be faithful to your honesty." They became lovers, not in secret. He told Meera. There were tears, fights, weeks of silence, but no lies. Meera asked Netra to meet her. They drank chai together. The air was heavy, but the conversation was clear. "I don't expect your friendship," Meera said, "but I demand your respect. For him and for me." Netra nodded. Done. The three of them crafted a strange, sacred rhythm. Not perfect, not easy, but real. The calm Lala came much later when Vihan was 40. He had lines on his face and silver in his beard. She was a single mother, a Kathak dancer, with eyes that carried sorrow like ink in water. They met during a retreat in Rishikesh. He never thought he'd fall again, but he did, quietly, reverently. He told her everything about Meera, about Netra, about his truth. Lala didn't believe in polygamy, but she believed in love, and more importantly, in choice. She chose him, not to replace anyone, not to possess him, but to add to the music of his life. She met Meera and Netra. It wasn't easy, but over time, they found a strange peace, like sea and stone learning to coexist. Society whispers followed Vihan everywhere. Shameless man, he's ruining their lives. Women with no self-respect. But his home wasn't filled with shame. It was filled with choice. Each woman chose him and chose to stay. And he chose them every single day. They didn't live in one house. They didn't wear matching rings. But they were bound by what mattered: consent, honesty, and care. But I love, on his 50th birthday, Vihan sat in a circle of his lovers. Meera brought the cake. Netra wrote a poem. Lala danced. Someone asked, "But how can you love 3 people at once?" Vihan smiled, because love is not a pie. You slice, it's a sky you breathe. I love differently, not less. I do not compare stars. I admire their light. He paused. Polygamy is not an excuse to indulge. It is a responsibility to honor every heart with full truth. The final poem. Years passed. People aged. One day Vihan passed away peacefully in his sleep. His funeral was quiet. 3 women stood by his pyre. Not as rivals, not as victims, but as proof that love, when chosen with honesty, is vast enough to hold many truths. On his tombstone were carved the words he once whispered. But I love freely, truly, deeply. Not because I must, but because I can.